And as former President Barack Obama said, today we aim to honor not only the basketball player that was Bill Russell, but also the man. And to help me do that, I'm now joined by two Hall of Famer reporters and journalists, chroniclers of basketball history, Jackie MacMullan and Michael Wilbon. Thank you so much for being here. And Jackie, I want to start with you here. You joined the Boston Globe in 1982, and the way that Bill Russell trailblazed for Doc Rivers, like we heard about earlier, you did for a lot of us. You were the first female sports columnist in Boston Globe history. How did you first meet Bill Russell?
Well, Malika, I was young. I was 24, maybe 25, and I was at the Garden to do a story on teammates. And I'm patrolling the hallway, and there he is, the ultimate teammate, Bill Russell. And as he walked down the hall, literally the seas parted because he was Bill Russell. And I was standing next to a veteran reporter from the Boston news media, and I said, wow, he would be great for my story. Do you think he would talk to me? And this particular gentleman, who I think probably had somewhat of an adverse history with Mr. Russell, said, no, he won't talk to you. He doesn't talk to anybody. He'll just sneer at you. Don't even bother. Well, Russ was close enough that he overheard, and he turned. So now here I am. I'm approaching this person that I have idolized my young life growing up in Boston, this very tall, bigger-than-life man. And I said, do you have a moment? And he said, yes, I do. I have all the time you need, quite loudly, loud enough for everyone to hear. He gave me a great interview, and we got done. And I said to him, you know, you did that because of what that guy said back there, right? And he gave me one of those trademark cackles, and he said, why, yes, I did. And for me, that was the beginning of an amazing relationship that I've treasured all of my personal and professional life.
Why,
truly.
yes, I did. And I can hear that full-faced cackle just echoing in my head as you told that story. Michael Wilbon, thank you so much for spending some time with us. And I do want to get to Bill Russell, the basketball player, no doubt.
By the way, Malika, I can't follow that story from Jackie. That's a showstopper. That's a mic drop story. I heard her tell it once before, and it's just like, who has that? That's a highlight of a lifetime, professional and personal, Jackie. Thanks for sharing that.
I won't ask you to piggyback, but maybe what I could ask you to do is you so beautifully touched on Bill Russell, the activist, last night when you were on SportsCenter. So I'm hoping that you can take a moment to tell our NBA Today audience about his presence off of the court.
Well, it was an incredible presence, Malika. One of the stories that people are retelling, and I'd heard it some while ago, is when Medgar Evers, the civil rights leader, was assassinated in 1963. Bill Russell was said then to have called the family and talked to his brother and said, you know, what can I do to help? And his brother said, you know, maybe you could give a basketball camp, an integrated one here in the Deep South. 1963, wow. Integrated basketball camp. That requires you to put your life at risk. Bill Russell, 1963, he's still at the top of he's at the apex of his career professionally. I mean, think of how many people would shy away from that now when there's almost, relatively speaking, no physical risk. Physical risk, life for Bill Russell, and he did it, and he had this camp. And there's so many stories that people find out about. I was some years ago, you know, we talk about that great photograph from Cleveland with all the people in it. And I like to try to find out if people under 50 can identify all the people in it. There it is. And, you know, for some of us, you know, the great Bobby Mitchell, for those of us in Washington, is there in the upper left. And there's so many guys. I won't go through it now. Obviously, Muhammad Ali. And obviously, on the right, that's not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's Lou Alcindor. He wasn't Kareem yet. He's still at UCLA. And he's there at the request, the invitation, I'm sure Jackie knows the details of this better than I do, of Bill Russell. That's why Kareem was there. And I think Kareem has even written about that recently in all the eloquent things Kareem has written. And so Bill Russell had the courage of his convictions. I mean, the same determination and stubbornness and fierceness that he fought Wilt with, you know, from 7 to 9 at night. And by the way, those guys only played each other then with 8 teams, like 16 times a year, something crazy. He had to play Wilt. He had that same determination in his daily life, and he had to. Because the 2 hours that he played basketball were probably the easiest of his hours, given what he had to deal with in the other 22. And so it's just, I am in awe and always have been in awe of Bill Russell. And the older he got, the more I've been in awe to understand what he stood for and how he fought and how eloquent he was and the great intellect. It wasn't just the presence, the physical presence that was intimidating. It was the intellect. And I real briefly, the first time I met him, I couldn't even talk. I was here in Washington when he was visiting his great friend, John Thompson, in the office. And, you know, John knew me well enough to know I was young, and he knew I was probably going to be awestruck and couldn't say a word. And he was right, silent in both cases. But the man was even more impressive than the ball player. I know people find that hard to believe who don't understand the times that he endured, but I believe that.
I believe it as well, Malika.
Yeah.
And, you know, one thing, Michael, you're so right. For people to really understand when we're discussing Bill Russell is to discuss the times. Remember now, Bill Russell is the OG. Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain were the first two superstars in the NBA, but they weren't paid like it. They weren't treated like it. People didn't even go to the games to watch them play half the time unless they were playing each other.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.